There. I'm Kevin Ragland, and once again, I'm going to be working on my comic. I'm still working on the same picture. Every stream I have done so far, I was working on the same picture. But today we're going to do the shading. And the cool thing about that is I can kind of also use this as an excuse to kind of show you how I do shading. And if you're new to digital art or you're wanting to get into IBIS Paint or whatever, this would be maybe you'll learn some things from this. Like maybe I'll teach you something, or at the very least, you can listen to me struggle. Because this is a phone I'm not super duper familiar with. Um, I've been kind of practicing on it the last few days, but it doesn't have pressure sensitivity, so it's a learning curve. Okay, so what I do shading wise is I have all of the different colors in this drawing, um, like in their own little bubble, their own layer, if you will, and they're all alpha locked. The alpha lock is this little like blue lock down here for anybody that doesn't know. That's right underneath the thing that says background. Okay, so I'm going to shade each individual like part separately to give them kind of like a 3D feel. I'm going to use airbrush normal, and yeah, that's pretty much the settings I have in the stabilizer and stuff. Okay, so we're gonna wait. What are we starting with here? The wall. Okay, when looking at what I've already done, as a little catch-up thing, I'm redoing art from the very first ever episode of my comic, Regeneration Girl. There's been kind of like a divide in the art in my comic for a while where it started out being traditional art and then turned into digital art once I realized I had access to digital art. And I had to learn that real quick because there was like a time sensitive comic that I was making. And because of that, there's like a huge jump between the early episodes and the later episodes in art style, and I want to kind of bring them together and make it to where it's unified. The entire comic is digital art, which is why I'm doing this. That, and if like one day I wanted to print this into like an actual like physical book, this would be way better to have like professional looking digital art than like traditional art that I drew when like a few years ago when my skills weren't quite as, good. Okay, so we're going to start with a wall. I noticed that this isn't quite the color I used for the wall in the other drawings I did so far for this comic. Because like I changed my color palette recently and I lost some of the like extra colors because I changed it. Now you can see like my color palette's way more organized now. Before it was very hard to navigate. And I wanted to make it easier and prettier for YouTube because like I can't stand the thought of anybody making fun of my color palette. I really don't care either way. I just wanted it to be pretty. Okay, so anyway, I noticed that the gray in the wall had like a tint of yellow to it in the other ones I did. So we're gonna add that may be a little too. I'm gonna have to mess around with this while we're working today because I'm used to doing it one specific way on my other phone, and this phone's a little different. So I'm gonna have to figure out how things go. Since it doesn't have pressure sensitivity, I'm just gonna have to mess with the transparency a bit. A little bit more transparency than that. Well, let me compare. Yeah, that's actually kind of good. Um, all right. So, okay, so now we can shade it. So I don't know how this is gonna go on my other phone. I would there would be this weird effect when depending on how big I made the bubble here, where it would make these little details, these little like extra details in the wall. Oh, it's still doing it. Okay. Okay, cool. Everything's gonna be good. I didn't know what that would be like on this particular phone. I'm borrowing the phone from my family in case you're wondering. This isn't my phone. I would be using my phone, but it's old and can't screencast on YouTube. My phone is so old it can't screencast on YouTube. That almost sounds like an insult. I think I might be making this a little too dark. So we'll have to go back over this with gray. But first I'm going to let's take white and do like a little in the middle like that to make it look like the light from the ceiling is kind of reflecting. Okay, then we're going to go back over with gray, kind of blend everything back out. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to look like a like kind of old dingy wall. So I think it's looking pretty good so far. Well, let me kind of compare it to yeah. I have a picture over here that I had already done that I'm using as reference of the wall. Okay, so we can move on now. I think this is the floor. So usually with the floor, I'll do like a squiggly to give it like a kind of effect, like there's a bunch of little details. I'll show you how I do that in a second. I just need to figure out the what I need to do transparency wise here. Usually, if whatever you're using, I use like the phone I usually use is an iPhone 6s that my dad gave me like uh God in 2018 I think, and I've been using it this whole time. Uh, that has pressure sensitivity, and usually if you have pressure sensitivity with this part, you can the way you shade it is like a little different because it just depends on how much like pressure you're putting on it essentially. Whereas now it's based on how much I go over it. If that makes any sense. As in like it's just a flat color instead of you being able to change it based on the pressure. So we gotta mess with things until I find the appropriate transparency. Oop. Okay. Okay, that's about good. Yeah, you see what I'm doing here? Like I'm doing the little wiggles, and it's giving it like a detail as if there's like little bits of carpet. Yeah, okay, you can see the bubble on screen. I was hoping that I didn't sound weird there. Okay. And then this was this color, right? Okay, I think so. It's about the color of the carpet from the home I grew up in. Okay, hold on. We need to make a shading for their feet, since their feet are kind of dangling over the edge here. Just in case this is you stumble upon this video and have never really seen any of my stuff before. This is a scene from my comic, Regeneration Girl. These are the two main characters. This one is Monkey, and this one is Morgan. They're sisters. And the story is like a superhero fantasy story. This one has healing abilities, like a healing factor, like Deadpool or Wolverine or whatever. And then she doesn't have any powers. So she kind of looks out for her because she's like 5 years older. So she's had to look out for her since they were like little kids because their parents kind of left them. They grew up in an orphanage, and basically, I don't know if this is how it works for like every orphanage. I know it's how it works with some, but in the story, they get left at the orphanage when they're like little. When Morgan's like 5 years old and Monkey's like a baby, and when you reach 18 there, they can't keep you anymore. So Morgan had to leave like 5 years before Monkey did. So during the time period where Monkey was there, without Morgan for 5 years, Morgan was like going out and getting a job and trying to get them like a place to stay. And right after Monkey finally got out, there was a traumatic incident that hasn't been like officially detailed in the comic just yet. But it made Morgan not want Monkey to leave the house anymore. So at the point where this comic starts, Monkey's been essentially like locked in the house for 2 years, where Morgan was scared for her to leave. And the story of the comic starts with like Morgan essentially just telling Monkey she thinks it's time for her to leave the house. And she leaves the house. She doesn't really know a whole lot about the world other than what she's seen like on the internet and through like little limited interactions she's had. So now everything kind of gets sprung on her all at once, and she like witnesses a bank robbery and has to stop it, and then basically tries to be a superhero. And that's the whole basis of the comic. It's definitely like, I wouldn't recommend it to like kids because it's like a very like a more mature comic with a bunch of like adult themes in it. Like it's scary. Like there is actually like a bunch of horror stuff in it, and also there's a lot of like bad language and like blood and stuff. So mature audiences only. Okay. Okay, so far. Okay, we gotta make this look like dangling bed sheets here. While also giving both characters appropriate shading. So at the point where the comic first starts, Morgan is 25 and Monkey is 20. There's actually like a funny thing. In the comic, Monkey's birthday is April 4th, which hasn't happened in the comic yet. Because like as soon as it does, she'll be 21. But the reason I bring this up is I was gonna like talk about like a little behind the scenes tidbit, which is I really like the number 4. Like I don't know why, but for some reason, like ever since I was a little kid, that was my favorite number. I like the number 4 and I like the number 9. Don't know why. And so when it came time to decide what Monkey's birthday was going to be, I made it to where her birthday is 4/4, April 4th. I just thought that was a good idea. And Morgan's birthday is Valentine's Day because I thought that that could have some fun, uh, like things I could do in the story. I can't tell if this is too light or not, what I'm currently doing. Let's try to make it a tad bit darker. That's the funny thing about digital art. It will look one way on your phone or tablet or whatever you're using, and then look completely different on like your TV or your computer or whatever. I think if I go over that again with that, kind of bring out these wrinkles a little bit. Wrinkles in the bed sheet. And then if we make the side a tad bit darker. And there would probably be a shading right there because for Monkey's arm. And then let's kind of do the darkest version for right underneath where they're touching the mattress. That's where the shading would be the darkest. Yeah. It's funny, drawing or coloring and explaining what I'm doing reminds me of Bob Ross. My mom used to watch Bob Ross a lot when I was a kid, and I've been in the drawing and art stuff in general forever. Like so I really liked Bob Ross as a kid, and I wanted to be able to paint like he painted. And you know, now he reminds me of my mom, so it makes it more special. Okay, now let's go over this with the base color again. Kind of blend everything a little bit. Kind of make the shadows a tiny, tiny bit less intense. I'm guessing that's yeah. I mean, that pretty much looks good, right? Yeah. Okay, so we can move on to the next part of the sheets. How long? How long have I been doing this? 19 minutes. Okay. Making. Oh, did not mean to do that. Making good time. Okay. Okay, what we're gonna try is, since these sheets are like this color. Whoa. This one right here. So we're gonna just take a slightly darker color like this one, and then we're gonna use that in the parts that are supposed to be the shaded the darkest, like right underneath monkey here. Okay. Um, there's also a funny story in my comic of how monkey got her name. And it actually references how I got my name. There's a story my sister used to tell me when I was a kid, uh, where when my parents were trying to decide what my name was going to be, she wanted me to have the same initials as her. So so her name is Kelly and my name is Kevin. And when like looking at them and looking at them being sisters and stuff, in the story, basically the caretakers at the orphanage let Morgan name Monkey because Monkey didn't have a name that they knew about when they found them outside the orphanage, and Morgan picked Monkey, and because she was 5 years old. And one thing that I thought was kind of funny about that is it makes it to where they both have the same initials, like me and my sister. So I thought that was like a nice little reference to real life. Okay, now if I go back over this with the base color once again. Once again. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Oh, by the way, I might have to revise what color her top sheets are, the ones under her blanket. Which crap. In case you missed that, let me go back here. If you're wanting to get in the Ibis paint, if you go to filter, there is an option to change drawing color, and it will just change the entire color of whatever layer you're on. So I can pick the other color I wanted to use, which is that color. It's supposed to be like a little bit darker red than it originally was. And I think I got the wrong color for Morgan's lips also. Now if we can just figure out which one is her lip color. Okay, it's that one. Nice. Okay, let's see. It's number 5. Yep, that is much better. While I'm at it though, let me go ahead and fix this a little bit. It's not quite perfectly lined up with the outline. Switch back. Whoa, don't advertise for me. By the way, I'm sorry for the advertisements on the top of the screen. Crap. I'm using the free version of Ibis Paint. So what is the setting I'm using? Oh wait, do I have Alpha Lock on? Yes, I do. That explains it. Anyway, I'm using the free version of Ibis Paint. So there are ads at the top, as you can see. I covered them a little bit with with my avatar face, but alrighty. Uh, I got a little when I was designing characters for this. I got some inspirations from some really random places. Not really based on how they look like in general, but just based on little things I did for the characters. Like Monkey always has like a couple of like little like this right here. She always has like a little part of hair sticking out. Uh, and the reason why I did that is I think it was Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, said that when you create characters, they should have a recognizable silhouette. And so when I was designing Monkey, I did that so that she would be more recognizable, like if she was just a silhouette, and that's how she got that. And then there were other little things I did that were along the same, that were based on other like little bits of advice I got from just watching behind the scenes stuff of like animated series DVDs or whatever. Um, uh, I was a big fan of the show Mission Hill while it was on, and got the complete series on DVD a few years ago. And they had like a behind the scenes thing where they were talking about how they developed the characters and like different little techniques they use and stuff. And one of the things they said that kind of stuck with me was that each character had their like color that like basically the color of like their either their outfit or their hair or whatever, but it was like a reoccurring like dominant color for them essentially. I don't know if that's the right phrasing. Like one character was mainly blue, one character was mainly green, so on and so forth. So when I was creating these characters, Monkey was red and Morgan was blue. So Monkey has red eyes and mostly wears red, or variations of red and like black and white. And then Morgan has blue eyes and mostly wears blue or variations of black and white. But Morgan's more like I have it to where Monkey is pretty much obsessed with the colors red, white, and black, to where that's pretty much all she wears. And variations of it like gray and dark red and silver and whatnot. Whereas Morgan's more open and will just wear random colors. And it has even worn red before, I think. Uh, and it's kind of a fun thing to do. Like, the more characters you have, the kind of harder it is to do that because there's only so many base colors. But I thought that that was a fun idea when creating the first few characters because I also have a character named Kim. Uh, that's one of the other main characters, and she's mainly pink, so most of her stuff is pink. But then there's also like she also squeezes in like yellow in there. She's essentially Babs Bunny from Tiny Toons Adventures. Wait, okay, is it this one? Um, but yeah, and then I have another character named Max, who his main color scheme is like green. But then I kind of like broke that idea because I didn't have other characters. Oh man, how did I accidentally color outside the lines here? Wait a minute. Oh, wait. Is it not? What is happening? Okay, wait a minute. I got a way to fix this real quick. Let's see if this will work. Yeah, okay. Wait, no. Yeah, I just drug it into place, essentially. Yeah. Okay. Um, oh man, I can't remember what I was talking about now. One track mind. uh okay, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Then I kind of broke that mold after a while because I couldn't think of any more like acceptable base colors. So I then have another character named Liz who also wears blue, and um, one of the superheroes that appears randomly named Shadow wears a lot of green. Funny thing about the character Shadow, for those of you who have read my comic or are planning to read my comic, uh, I actually created him when I was a little kid. He's actually, as far as I can remember, he's the oldest character I've ever created. Like, basically, I created him. He's got to be one of my first ever created characters, if that makes any sense. Oh man, now it kind of looks like this sheet's the same color as the box screens. That's not what I wanted. Whatever. Maybe we can lighten it up a tad bit with wait, we need a little. Yeah, that's fine. Um, he's the first character I can remember creating is what I was trying to say. Um, I know I had to have created more characters before him because uh, I was like a very creative kid that created characters like crazy. But he's the furthest back one I can remember, if that makes any sense. I don't know why I can't think of like an appropriate way to say this that makes sense. But I used to make comics involving him when I was like a little kid. Sadly, I don't have them anymore, but yeah, it's weird. So when I started making a superhero story, because I wanted to make like a superhero story for a while, but I couldn't think of like a good enough idea for one. So when I came up with the idea for Regeneration Girl, and it actually seemed like a good idea, and stuff like I wanted to bring Shadow in as a character because I thought that that would be neat. Which it's just weird thinking about how long ago I created most of the characters that are in this comic. Because Monkey, I create this character I created in 2011, which is bizarre, like how long ago that was. And Morgan, I actually created before her. I think the same year though, but a little bit before. And I don't know what it was, but when I created Monkey, for some reason I was just like, "Ooh, I can make them sisters," and they've been sisters ever since. Ever since. I have a way of creating characters where I'll kind of imagine what they're like as a person while deciding what they look like. And I'll think about like little things about their life. Like it usually results in like I'll imagine them having a conversation with someone, and through that conversation, I'll kind of imagine who they are as a person and like what kind of things have they done, how do they present themselves, what kind of people do they associate with, um, what do they stand for in life, so on and so forth. I've done this since like I was little. And so there'll be some characters that I'll create that I'll then get really attached to because I like the person I made them into in my brain. And Monkey was one of those characters where she stuck with me, and I really wanted to make a story about her. And I went through like a few different ideas of what the story could be until I eventually decided I just wanted it to be a superhero story with like little bits of all my favorite genres thrown in. Like there's comedy and drama and slice of life and romance and horror and mystery, all the other stuff. Okay, we're at like the 36-minute mark. We're finally getting to coloring the actual characters. And we're starting with Monkey's feet. Yeah, Monkey's feet. Okay. There we go. Painting her toesies. Gotta make her have shading from the baggy pants. No, I don't like that line I just did. Okay. Gotta make it to where there's an impression that there's feet under there, but so I'll do that and then go over it with the color. Wait, which gray did I use here? Is it this one? Yeah, okay. I'm getting back used to my color palette because I had to kind of change it recently for YouTube. I tried to make it, well, not just for YouTube, but also for this phone. Because since this phone is so weird, like it doesn't have pressure sensitivity or whatever, I did like kind of like a palette where it's just a light color that just progressively gets darker and darker, so that instead of me using pressure to decide how dark something's going to be when I'm like shading it like this, I can just click on the appropriate color and then just color it. Okay, let's do. This is weirdly enough the second day in a row I'm streaming now. I don't know if I'm gonna stream every day, but I might, because I want to find, the best days to stream. And I mean, I was gonna draw anyway, so might as well do it on camera. Oh God, now we gotta do the other sock. I was never really the best at drawing feet. Feet are weird. Okay. But it's easier when you just make them wear shoes or make them have socks on. You don't have to do all the little lines here and there of their toes and whatnot. Uh, Hold on. Okay. Um, there we go. But if you like my art style and want to check out my comic, Regeneration Girl is actually, it's on YouTube, which there's actually like a channel, Regeneration Girl channel on YouTube, that you can go check out if you want to. It's on Global Comics, which is probably going to be the best version because that's where you can kind of do the uncensored stuff. And Webtoon is kind of weird when it comes to like blood and whatnot. But it's also on Webtoon and Tapas. Ooh. And I have a Patreon. That really has nothing to do with what I was talking about. I mean, what? I don't know why you brought it up, but just gonna put it out there. Okay, I mean that kind of looks like a soft cloth. Kind of gives the impression of soft cloth. I think that's pretty good. Okay, now let's move on to her pants. Let's do a dark red. We're at the 41-minute mark now. This is about to be my longest stream so far. Of the 3 streams I've done. Let's just do this in black. Yeah. Red's weird when it comes to digital art. I noticed that it's definitely the color that like everything has the hardest time rendering. To where most of the time if you make a picture or whatever like mostly red, whatever site you upload it to is going to have a very hard time rendering it, and it'll make it look all pixelated and weird. I've run into that a lot with just this comic, and I use red like a lot, so it shows up a lot. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to just go over this. We're going to do the dark shading. And then I'm going to go back over it with the base color and kind of blend everything out. I think that would be kind of the easiest way to do this. Maybe we can do this a little darker. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what that shape ended up being. That's not the shape of a knee. Okay. Okay. This is a little too dark. But I am going to go back over it with the base color, so it's fine. Okay. And we need to do a little shading under where her shirt is going to be bagging down. Like so. Okay, and we need a little shading on these wrinklies. Wrinkly shading. Rated R. Okay, and then now what we're going to do is we're going to go over it with a really light red. Like all the parts that would be illuminated by light. Like so. And then we're going to do the base color red and go over it again, kind of blend everything out a bit. Make the shading way lighter. Yeah, I mean, that looks pretty good. They're supposed to be like soft pants, so it's not supposed to be like super shiny or anything. Okay, next we're doing her hands. And we're just going to do the exact same thing. That seems to work pretty well on this phone. We're just going to do the dark shading. On both hands. And then we're going to go back over it with the base color, which is this. Like so. It's looking pretty good. Pretty good indeed. Alright. Now onto her shirt. So she's got a bunch of wrinkles because this is like a baggy shirt. These are her comfy clothes, so. Okay, so what I've learned is it's fine as long as you don't like redraw a line over an already existing line. Then it gets a little too weird. Okay, and then do some shading here. Right there. And then do some shading there. And then do some shading. Oh man. I forgot this was all one piece, so I'm gonna have to go back. Okay. I'm gonna kinda have to watch out for her arm here. Okay, now we can do the wrinkles on this side. Oh, that was refusing to go backwards. Wrinkles. And we can do an extra dark shade here since it's in between her arm and her chest. Like so. That looks a little weird. That looks a little blotchy. But I will fix it when we do the base color. That's what I tell myself either way. Okay, now boob shading. And then shading here. I did that a little wrong. Okay, this is a little too dark for this part. Okay. Do the wrinklies. Okay, now let's do a little darker here over the lines. I've been back and forth so many times of whether or not I should do wrinkle lines, like actual wrinkle lines, or just make the detail with the airbrush pen. Because sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, we need a little bit lighter for this. Let's do 44. That's my favorite number twice. Yeah, the funny thing about the number 4 is it apparently has like a lot of there's a lot of like things referencing the number 4 in different like countries and whatnot. Like, is it Japan? They hate the number 4 because it's like it's pronounced or written similarly to how they write the word death, which I thought was kind of neat. And God, is it the occult? Um, think like sees the number 4 as being like a special number. Okay. Alright, we need like a little bit darker of shading here. Let's just do 60. That was 61, but whatever. Alright. Wrinklies. Okay, now we're going to go over it with a lighter gray to do all the little highlight areas. Like there and there, there, there. We can use this to make this area look a little more even. A little less blotchy. If you're hearing sounds like little sounds every now and then, it's probably my cats. They're jumping on furniture. Okay, wait. Okay, let's go over this again like this. That was a little... Alright, yeah. So you got like the basic shape in there of the way everything is. Okay. Still looks a little blotchy. I took away almost all the shading though. Ding dang Willy Wang. Okay. That fixes it a little bit at least. Okay. Alright, I mean, that was pretty good. Let's compare it to the other drawing I did. It's a little darker on the other drawing though. So let's go over it again with slightly darker gray. That's not doing too great. Let's go over it again with like almost black, I guess. See how that does. It's kind of drowning out all the shading. You know what? This is fine. Okay. How long have I been? Almost an hour. Okay, so we got a little tiny bit of time left. I was planning on doing this for about an hour. So let's do some neck shading. I'm just going to do some like, just like the other stuff, I'm just going to do it dark and then go back and fix the darkness with the base color. The urge to whistle is strong. Okay. Once again, it's looking a tad bit blotchy. But, that was expected. I will fix it. Okay. There. Let's just go back over it with her base skin color here. All the parts that are supposed to be the lightest. Still looks a tiny bit blotchy. Yeah, okay, that's good. Now we're on her face, maybe? Uh, do I still have the sketch? Oh, I didn't. I'll usually do like a little sketch to show me parts of shade on the face, so it'll like follow the flow of the her face, if that makes any sense. But now I'm just gonna wing it. Okay, gotta do one for her cheek, one at the bottom of her face, one under her lips. We got shading under her nose. We got shading on the side of her nose, a little bit on the top. Got a little shading under her eye. And then, okay, and then that's a little too dark. I gotta be careful the way I do this because it can end up looking like a little muddy. It's okay. All right, and there's her ear. So a little bit darker on the inside of the ear. A little bit darker here. Let's get this side too. A little bit darker under her nose. Let's make a little bit of darkness next to the side of her lip, and then the bottom of her face. Let's go ahead and take white and add some little highlights like on her nose and on the top of her forehead, on her cheek. And then we can take the base color once again and go over and kind of blend everything out. Like so. Hold on, let me do some for her chin here. There. So basically making the shading super light. All right. So are we about at the hour mark here? Yeah. Okay, so I think I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you for tuning in. I don't know how often I'm going to be streaming, but I might stream again tomorrow. I guess we'll have to wait and see. It really just depends on if everything works out the way it should or the way it's supposed to. But yeah, we will finish this then, or do a little tiny bit more. It's kind of time consuming. All right, bye.